New looks at the new Life is Strange, Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, and a new Shovel Knight, all today on TouchPad. Hello and welcome to Cross Circle Squared. I am Benny Gerkman, and this is TouchPad, your daily video game news show. Super short show for you today, so let's get right into it. First off, Life is Strange Double Exposure had its gameplay reveal today in the Life is Strange Double Exposure reveal live stream. We saw about 20 minutes of gameplay here, paired with about 20 to 30 minutes of developer interviews. Of course, I really can't put a gameplay directly into words, so if you're interested in checking out the game, I do have it linked below to check it out. It's in like the last 20 minutes is all gameplay. And in that respect, it looks pretty good. You're not going to Life is Strange for the super fulfilling, immersive gameplay, right? You're going for the story, you're going for the writing, you're going for the characters. And in that regard, it looks amazing. Essentially, as Max, you can shift between these two realities. I'm thinking more like across the lines of, I don't know, Titanfall 2's time travel mechanic almost, where, you know, you're in one spot and you can go back and forth and see what this room is like in both realities. Other than that, though, of course, the game is still about kind of walking around, exploring, doing like little kind of tasks where you navigate Max to different things. And of course, picking dialogue options is also a big part of it. It's a Life is Strange game. I think you kind of know what you're getting into based just off of the series there. And again, I think everything here is kind of what we expected. No big surprises here. I do think the big kind of topic of discussion going into this, and it's actually something you'll probably miss if you just skip to the gameplay, really, and that's how the game will deal with the multiple possible endings of Life is Strange 1. I'm not going to spoil what happens in that game, but essentially there's a decision which leads to fates of certain characters, one way or the other. Well, in Double Exposure, you'll be able to navigate the game through your previous choices. Essentially, certain characters at certain points will ask you about the first game, what happened, how you feel about it, how certain characters ended up, what you did with other characters, things like that. And so you can essentially build out the story of the first game and the choices that you went through some dialogue options that Max will then use and the game will use to try to pretty much decide how Max will feel about things for the new game and how she refers to previous events in her new life. So basically, any possible events that happened in Life is Strange 1 is still possible and still can be canon to Life is Strange Double Exposure. You'll just have to go out and pick those things in the new game. Life is Strange Double Exposure releases October 29th on PS5, Series X and S, as well as Steam. They say it will also launch on Switch, but that kind of seems to be a later date. Okay, next piece of news now, and let's go ahead and real quickly run over to the Lollipop Chainsaw remaster. And I mean, it looks like just that. It is a faithful visual upgrade with some new features playable on modern consoles. Sadly, it's not the full remake that us Lollipop Chainsaw freaks were hoping for. It's similar to like how I think really when it announced, it was kind of announced as that sort of thing. But, you know, I'll take actually being able to play the game at all more than the previously available alternative, which is basically, you know, not being able to. You know, you could buy a physical copy for PS3 for like $60 to $100. Or a copy on Xbox 360, but it's not backwards compatible on Xbox. So you basically had to have a PS3 set up or an Xbox 360 and buy a very expensive physical copy. That kind of sucks. So now it'll be available on all stores, and it'll be the best version of the game. It'll release September 25th. It'll have this new colorful Repop mode, which seems to be like a less bloody, more glittery color compared to the original release, but it will still have a mode that is, you know, the original bloody, pretty violent original game. I think that mode is kind of mainly for content creators or streamers. They can't include the original copy or the original game version and still like have a lower age rating or anything, especially with what happens in that game. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's an artistic decision with the new Repop mode, I'm not sure, or just an extra gameplay feature. Speaking of gameplay features, it does have what they consider additional gameplay content, but that just looks to be new costumes, new chainsaws, as well as a time attack mode. Lollipop Chainsaw Repop will release to PS5, Series X and S, Switch, and Steam all at launch. It'll cost $50 digitally, and there will be a physical copy coming in October. Okay, let's go ahead and go to Shovel Knight now. Let me pull up the live stream here real quick. This is a live stream done by Yacht Club. They're the people behind Shovel Knight. I don't think they're really behind much else. This is really what they're known for. And they held a Yacht Club Games Presents earlier today. It has some new info on both previously announced Shovel Knight games, like it has some DLC for Shovel Knight Dig and Pocket Dungeon. And it also has a kind of a small little update to their new IP that's in the works. But the big thing here, the big announcement, is Shovel Knight DX. It's a definitive edition of the original with more characters, multiplayer. It has a bunch of extra features like cheats and things like that. And it looks like the best way to play the game. It'll be available on PS4, Xbox One, and that of course will be available backwards compatibility to the new consoles. It'll be on Steam and Switch. I forgot to actually check if it'll be available on mobile, but I sort of imagine with something like this, no release date for it yet, but it sounds like it's coming pretty soon. They also announced that they're working on a completely new Shovel Knight, which will likely be in 3D with the way they were hinting, but no big info on that yet. It seems like a far way out for that one. Okay, sadly, we do have some bad news to report today. Galvanic Games, the studio behind Devolver, published Wizard with a Gun, will be closing down. It seems mainly just due to low sales of their game, unfortunately. They were a little over 10 strong, and they're seemingly shutting down pretty immediately. Of course, if you want to check them out, their game Wizard with a Gun had pretty okay reviews. It's about $25 on Steam. And of course, if you're an industry professional watching this, you can check out their portfolios on their Twitter and hire some of that team if you're feeling like it. Okay, lastly, there was that Indiana Jones Xbox podcast. I listened to it in the background earlier today. It didn't really seem like much was revealed, but I'll link it below anyways if you're really interested in that game. Only big release for today is SMT5 Vengeance. As far as I can tell, it's just a definitive edition of SMT5 with a new storyline added in. I'm not that much of an Atlas freak, certainly not enough of a freak to play Shin Megami Tensei. My brain can't wrap around that game at all. So if you are one of those little Atlas freaks, let me know if it looks good or not, because I have really no way to tell. Either way, though, that's all I have for you today. Our Silent Hill 3 review podcast is currently rendering on my computer, and it is 6 hours long. So expect that tomorrow on the good old YouTube. Probably launching that in the afternoon, like about noon EST. So watch out for that. But that's it for me for today. As always, I'm Benny Girkman. This is Cross Circle Squared, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.